Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Language of Leadership. I'm your host, Chuck Marting. Today the topic we will be exploring is the role of faith in leadership. It's a topic I've wrestled with for some time through experiences and in talking with other leaders, gaining their thoughts and perspectives on this subject. And today, I want to share with you what I've learned. You know, Faith is one of the most profound yet most misunderstood elements of leadership. For some, it's an unwavering trust in a higher power of destiny. For others, it's a confidence in their ability to navigate uncertainty. But in leadership, faith goes beyond personal beliefs. It's about creating and yet sustaining an environment of trust, hope, and resilience. Now, to lead with faith, it means to move forward despite fear, doubt, or lack of tangible proof. Leadership faith is multifaceted. It's going to require faith in oneself, faith in others, and in that process and systems, it's going to be what we've designed it to be. Now, the question is, how do we cultivate this faith? And more importantly, how do we sustain it when it is tested? So let's understand what faith and leadership is. Let's start by breaking it down, what faith means in a leadership context. Now, faith isn't blind optimism, nor is it the absence of fear or doubt. It's a belief that despite the challenges, the end goal is attainable and worth pursuing. You have to have faith in yourself. So faith begins internally. It's rooted in self-confidence and in belief that you have the tools, knowledge, and resilience to face challenges. So leaders who lack faith struggle to inspire others because their doubts become contagious. Faith in others, there's no leader that succeeds alone. Faith in a team is the cornerstone of effective leadership. And this trust must go both ways. Leaders need to have faith in their team's abilities, and team members need to trust their leader's vision and their guidance. Finally, faith extends to the systems and processes that we create. Whether it's training programs, a business model, a strategic plan, you as a leader must trust that the frameworks that you're establishing will remain open to adaptation. One of the most iconic examples of leadership faith is the Apollo 13 mission. When an oxygen tank exploded in space, the odds of bringing the astronauts back to Earth seemed insurmountable. Yet NASA's leadership maintained faith, not just in their own abilities, but in their team and also in their training. Gene Kranz, NASA's flight director, famously said, "Failure is not an option." His faith in his engineers and the systems that they had developed inspired and cultivated the effort to problem solve in real time. The team's ingenuity and their resilience turned what could have been a tragic failure into one of NASA's most celebrated moments. This story highlights that faith in leadership isn't about hoping for miracles. It's about trusting the people and the processes that you've prepared for moments of crisis. So how do you garner faith? Well, faith, while powerful, it isn't something we're inherently born with. It's cultivated through intentional effort, both internally and externally. Cultivating that internal faith is going to be something that you're going to have to learn to develop. It causes daily reflection. So you have to spend time each day reflecting on your purposes and your values. What drives you? You have to reconnect with your why. It will help strengthen your resolve and it will bolster your faith in the journey ahead. You have to have positive affirmations, and we've talked about affirmations before. Faith begins with a belief that things can and will improve. Develop affirmations that align with your vision, such as, "I am capable of leading through challenges," or Every obstacle is an opportunity for growth. Visualization is something that is very important. It's a technique that is very powerful. It's something that I've come to love and trust so much in the last few weeks and months that I've been studying this. Athletes and leaders alike use visualization to build their confidence. So picture yourself achieving your goals, whether it's delivering a successful presentation, leading your team through a project, or even overcoming personal challenges. This mental rehearsal will train your brain to see success as achievable. It's going to help foster faith in others as well. But you have to lead with integrity. Faith in leadership starts with trust. You have to be transparent about your goals, your challenges, and even your expectations. When your words align with your actions, you're going to create a foundation of trust that inspires faith. And it's going to lead to empowerment. And empowerment is going to show your team that you believe in your abilities. You delegate meaningful tasks and you celebrate those successes. So when people feel trusted, they're more likely to trust in you in return. But you have to be consistent. Consistency with faith is built over time. So be consistent in your communication, your decision-making, and even in your leadership style. That consistency creates a sense of stability, and even in uncertain times is going to be sustainable. So let's have an example, building faith in a struggling team. All right. That's something that we all can relate to. We've heard about. So I want you to consider a newly promoted manager that's been tasked with leading his team. It's underperforming. Pretty good visual. Now, instead of focusing solely on the negatives, that manager is going to emphasize in the team's potential. You're going to set small, achievable goals, but then celebrate each milestone. And over time, the team will begin to trust that manager or that leadership, and it's going to help them gain faith in their own abilities. This transformation demonstrates how intentional effort can rebuild faith, even in challenging circumstances. But you have to exercise faith daily. It just can't be a hit and run. Faith isn't static. It's a skill that must be exercised, and it has to be done so regularly to remain strong. So here's how leaders can make their faith a daily practice. First, you have to start with gratitude. Gratitude is going to shift your focus from one that's lacking to what's abundant. By starting your day with gratitude, you're cultivating a mindset that recognizing progress and potential is the goal. Now, when you do that, you have to stay aligned with your vision. You have to revisit your goals frequently. Faith is going to falter when leaders lose sight of the bigger picture. So you have to regularly remind yourself and also your team of what your purpose behind your efforts are. You need to seek feedback from other leaders and also from your team, because faith doesn't mean ignoring criticism or even constructive criticism. In fact, seeking feedback shows confidence and willingness to improve, which reinforces your faith in your own leadership. So an example is faith in a training program. So I want you to imagine a coach preparing a high school football team for the championship game. Despite early losses in the season, that coach maintains faith in the training program and even encourages the players to trust the process. And by sticking to the fundamentals and staying committed to their improvement, the team eventually finds its rhythm and they win the championship. This example underscores the importance of staying the course and trusting in the systems that you've built. Now, the fourth thing is maintaining faith throughout your challenges. The true test of faith comes when it's challenged. So how do we maintain faith in ourselves or even our teams or our systems when they fail us? Well, first you have to acknowledge the loss. Faith isn't blind. When something goes wrong, acknowledge it. And disappointment or betrayal is going to be natural. But denying these feelings only weakens your foundation. So you have to, you're going to have to rebuild incrementally. All right. So rebuilding faith takes time. You have to start with small steps, restoring trust in one area at a time. For example, if a team member makes a significant mistake, focus on rebuilding their confidence through smaller, manageable tasks before assigning them larger responsibilities. This is going to help rebuild that faith. But third, you need to learn from the experience. Every challenge holds a lesson. We have to reflect on what went wrong and use that knowledge to prevent similar issues in the future. So this proactive approach strengthens your faith by demonstrating growth and adaptability. Now, another example would be rebuilding faith after a crisis. In 2009, Starbucks faced a very significant decline in sales and customer satisfaction. And Howard Schultz, the CEO, he took responsibility for the company's missteps and made bold decisions to rebuild the faith in their brand. He closed all their stores in the United States for a day to retrain baristas to help them refocus on quality and reconnect with Starbucks' core mission. And you know what? Over time, those efforts restored customers' faith in the brand, and it helped revitalize the company's success. So stories like this highlight that faith, even when broken, can be restored through accountability and deliberate action. The next thing that I want you to remember is that faith in leadership is a unifying force. And I think sometimes we forget that because we're so involved in what it is that we're doing. But faith has the power to unify. And when leaders maintain faith, they inspire others to do the same thing. And it helps create a ripple effect that extends beyond that individual or their team. So faith, in all essence, is a beacon of hope. Leaders are often the ones others look to during uncertain times. Your faith can serve as a guided light, and it shows others that challenges are only temporary and that solutions are within each one of us and they are within reach. Faith is a collective, right? Leadership isn't just about individual faith. It's about fostering a shared belief in a vision or a mission. This collective faith drives teams to achieve more. They even think about that it even goes beyond that. Every thought, every feeling is possible. So let's look at an example of faith in a civil rights movement, okay? Let's use Dr. Martin Luther King for an example. Dr. Martin Luther King, he exemplified faith in leadership. His unwavering belief in equality and justice inspired millions to join the civil rights movement. Even in the face of violence and opposition, his faith remained unshaken. His leadership demonstrated the transformational power of faith to inspire and change on a massive scale. Now, I want to conclude with a challenge to reflect. You see, faith is an invisible force that propels leaders and teams forward. It's what allows us to persist when the path is uncertain and the challenges seen can be insurmountable. But as we close, I want to challenge you to reflect on a few things. First, where does your faith lie? How do you nurture it? And most of all, how do you inspire faith in those that you lead? I want to leave you with this. Faith is not the absence of fear or doubt. It's the decision to move forward anyway. As leaders, our faith is the foundation upon which we build our trust and our resilience and success. You see, faith sees the invisible, believes the incredible, and achieves the impossible. Carry that with you and lead with faith. Until next week, when we bring you another episode here on the language of leadership, I want you to take care.